There is a place in Christianity where few dare to tread. It's a place that is rich in mystery, and around every corner awaits frightening discoveries. Many who enter this place never return, becoming lost in endless corridors of intrigue, driven insane, and forever mumbling to themselves, "Why have you made me this way? Why have you made me this way?" This place is the labyrinth of God's sovereignty, and I'm afraid that Ak Richardson has found himself lost and in a state of panic. But fortunately for him, I've heard his cries for help, and now I'm coming in after him.
With kind of one of the last few things you said, well, I don't know how if it was last or not, but you said in response to my questions, Dr. White, about God having patience with his own decree, you said, no, God is not having patience with his own decree. So my question is, the things, the evil deeds that either Pharaoh or Israel is doing, did he not decree those things?
Yes, he did.
So then, how is he not having patience with his own decree?
Because his decree includes providence in his actions and time. So Jesus entered into time. He ministered for 33 years. God demonstrated patience toward the people who abused his son during his ministry. So there's a vast difference between eternity and in time. God's decree determines the shape of that time, but it doesn't change the reality that God has the intention of demonstrating his power and wrath, demonstrating his mercy, and he does that in time. So I think you have a fundamental problem in confusing something that is eternal to God that we don't know, though his Bible, this word reveals it, and how that plays out in time itself. It's something Christians have always struggled with, time and eternity, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd agree with most of that, but it seems odd to me, though. You did say just now that, yes, those things, their evil deeds, are his decree. Yes, he's in eternity. But so if those things are his decree, as you affirmed, and those are the things that does the text not say that he is having patience with those things?
Well, again, give you an example. Acts chapter 4 says that God's purpose and decree determined beforehand that Jesus would be turned over to Herod, Pontius Pilate, the Romans, and the Jews. And so obviously God had been patient in allowing Herod to do all the crazy things that Herod did so that Herod could fulfill his part of the purpose. Same thing with Pilate, very different than Herod, the Jewish leadership, the Roman soldiers. God had been patient with all of them. Why? So that God could demonstrate his wrath and to make his power known and to then demonstrate his mercy. So,
well, you're speaking about God's purpose in having patience, but still, yeah, the question is, you affirm that the things they're doing are the things that he decreed. So my question is, are those the things that he's having patience with according to the text?
Again, God has decreed to interact with his people in such a fashion that he demonstrates patience and long-suffering with, for example, Israel. And we can take much from the many instances where he showed patience with Israel. Now, my counter to you was, don't you think, do you believe that God couldn't do that he couldn't decree to have to show patience and then therefore give us examples of how we should be patient, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, it just seems like you're conflating God's eternal purposes and his actions in time.
Well, see, here's the problem, and this isn't a gotcha thing, but it just seems like, I agree that God has a purpose in the things that he decrees, but when you say in your rebuttal that God is not having patience with his decree, but then you say, but those things are what he decreed, and I get that he wants to demonstrate his wrath. Yes, that's the purpose, but I don't know how you escape the conclusion that he is having patience with his decree when you affirm that those are the things that he decreed.
Have you figured out what's taking place here? Ak Richardson has imagined that if God has decreed all things, none of those things actually exist. None of the things God decreed to happen is actually happening. It's just God existing by himself, eternally staring at a line of coding that is his decree. Sometimes it's the simplest things that lead us out of the labyrinth of God's sovereignty. In this case, here's the thing to remember. People are real. What they are doing is real. God really is holy and really does have wrath over sin that is actually taking place. Whether or not he decreed a sinful event to take place, he still hates it because the event is really taking place in a material reality. So the answer is very simple. No, God is not being patient with his decree because his decree is not a material person who is committing sin. He's being patient with actual vessels who really exist.